Knew that I could do that fairly young as a kid, that I could do that and I could make my friends laugh, and if someone was sad, I could lighten the mood, and if there was tension, I could break the mood and make everybody happy.
Seriously, go on.
Okay.
No, go on. You can see my belly, and we can all see you dying right now. Let's go.
Point where I thought, I think this relationship is going to be toxic.
Many people have the whole thing, which was, craziness, but, and I don't like to talk about it much. And
Conan O'Brien seems to be the one talk show host everyone genuinely likes. Many others come across as if they've lost their spark, trading their personalities for Hollywood fame and fortune. At first glance, Conan might not seem that different. He's got the same tall frame, sharp humor, and a similar show. But over time, he's become one of the most beloved hosts ever. So, how did that happen? Why does everyone like Conan so much? And did he ever sell out to Hollywood? Let's break down all the details. But of course, before we go any further, make sure first that you subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell for more updates and videos like this. Now let's get going.
We are based on money, not once. I'm not going to lie, it's nice to have money.
Right.
But I've also not had money, and I'm okay with that. I really wanted...
From the very start, Conan O'Brien had a background that many associate with those raised in the structured world of Catholicism. Born on April 18, 1963 in Brookline, Massachusetts, he was the third of 6 kids in an Irish Catholic family. His dad, Thomas O'Brien, was a doctor and a professor at Harvard Medical School, while his mom, Ruth O'Brien, was a lawyer and once a partner at the well-known Boston law firm Ropes and Gray. Conan's childhood was shaped by both strict religious values and a love for learning. Even as a kid, he was drawn to comedy and loved making people laugh.
I put everything into what I do, and when it started to get toxic and I started to feel that I'm not sure these people even really want
my
me
mouth
here.
with Coca-Cola and then start twitching and vibrating, and the Coke would foam up in my mouth and spill out like foam, and I would do this thing, and you guys would call for it occasionally. You'd be like, do that again.
Larger than life, because we know you from TV. But
Yeah, well, the word's iconic.
It just got...
Conan was especially inspired by comedians like Johnny Carson, George Carlin, and the cast of Monty Python. As a kid, he would often put on shows for his family and friends, always finding ways to make them laugh. This passion for comedy stayed with him as he got older, even when adult life started to bring its own challenges. Eventually, Conan turned his love for humor into a successful career, becoming one of the most beloved talk show hosts of all time.
The other thing, I never made a decision in my career based on money, not once. I'm not going to lie, it's nice to have money.
Right.
But I've also not had money, and I'm okay with that.
Before Conan became a well-known face on TV, he worked behind the scenes. After graduating as valedictorian from Brookline High School in 1981, he went on to study American history and literature at Harvard University. While at Harvard, he sharpened his comedy writing skills by working for the Harvard Lampoon, a famous humor magazine that has produced many top comedy writers. Conan's time there was a turning point for his career. His quick wit and unique style of humor started getting noticed by professionals in the industry. After graduating from Harvard in 1985, Conan moved to Los Angeles to chase a career in TV. His first major break came in 1988 when he was hired as a writer for Saturday Night Live, SNL. While there, he created several memorable sketches like Mr. Short-Term Memory and The Girl Watchers, featuring Tom Hanks. His success at SNL opened the door to another big opportunity, working on The Simpsons, one of the most famous TV shows ever. From 1991 to 1993, Conan worked as a writer and producer on The Simpsons, creating some classic episodes like Marge versus the Monorail and Homer Goes to College. His work on the show was a game changer. He took the story of an ordinary suburban family and helped turn it into a cultural phenomenon that still connects with viewers today. Even though he was successful as a writer, Conan stayed mostly out of the public eye. Everything changed in 1993 when NBC picked Conan to take over Late Night from David Letterman. A lot of people were doubtful about this choice. Conan was a relatively unknown name, and many wondered if he had the charm and presence needed for TV. When he first appeared on screen with his sidekick and fellow writer, Andy Richter, some viewers thought he seemed awkward and uncomfortable. If you watch the early clips of the show, you can really see how nervous Conan was. It's no surprise he seemed awkward. He went from working behind the scenes as a writer to being the star of a national TV show in just a few months. The first years of Late Night with Conan O'Brien were definitely a bit rough.
I'm not funny, huh?
Yes, you are!
The show was almost canceled.
The show came close to being canceled several times because of low ratings. Things got so bad that NBC interns had to fill the empty seats left by the audience. Conan even admitted he wasn't sure if the show would make it through its first year. But his determination and unique humor eventually won over both critics and viewers. As Conan refined his style and delivery, people started to see how well he connected with his guests and his talent for clever, memorable comments. Growing up with a professor dad and a lawyer mom, it's no surprise Conan graduated from Harvard, where he sharpened his comedy writing skills. His smart humor often shows through his quick wit, clever jokes, and how he handles different situations. Conan's unique style has been a big part of his success. He mixes absurd humor with self-depreciation, often making himself the target of the joke. This makes him relatable and likable, showing that he doesn't take himself too seriously. Conan stands out from other late-night hosts because he's willing to be vulnerable on camera, unlike those who rely on snarky or cynical jokes. One of his signature segments is Clueless Gamer, where he plays video games with celebrities. Even though he's not a gamer, this segment shows how Conan can poke fun at himself while keeping his audience entertained. His chats with guests feel real and unscripted, leading to spontaneous and often hilarious moments. Unlike many talk show hosts, Conan O'Brien comes across as genuine, both on and off the stage. You can really see Conan's authenticity in how he interacts with his staff and fans. He's famous for holding staff performance reviews, where he pretends to be a bad boss, throwing things around the office, yelling, and asking awkward questions. Despite the chaos, almost everyone he deals with either looks like they're trying hard not to laugh or just laughs out loud. This playful vibe with his staff is a big contrast to how other talk show hosts behave. For instance, on Spill Your Guts or Fill Your Guts with Jimmy Kimmel, James Corden was asked to name 2 of the cameramen in the room. He couldn't even name one, even though he tried to laugh it off as a joke.
2 of the cameramen in this room.
That is a great question.
The incident really showed the difference between Corden and Conan. Conan goes out of his way to know his staff and treat them with respect, while Corden seems disconnected from the people working behind the scenes on his show. Talk shows aren't just about laughs and fun. For some hosts, the spotlight reveals their more controversial sides, leading to behavior that can upset the public. James Corden has faced a lot of backlash for how he's reportedly treated his staff and even restaurant servers, which has hurt his reputation. Similarly, Whoopi Goldberg has stirred up her share of drama since she joined The View in 2007. For example, on January 31, 2022, The View discussed a Tennessee school district banning the graphic novel Mouse, which is about a Holocaust survivor. The conversation became heated when Whoopi said that the Holocaust wasn't about race, but about man's inhumanity to man.
Race. It's not about race.
What is it about?
Because it's about man's inhumanity to man.
Whoopi's comments sparked a lot of backlash. Co-host Anna Navarro responded by pointing out that the Holocaust was really about white supremacy, focusing on the genocide of the Jews and Gypsies. Whoopi stood her ground, arguing it was a conflict between 2 groups of white people. Joy Behar added that the Nazis themselves classified Jews as a separate race. Leora Rez, from the watchdog group Stop Anti-Semitism, called Whoopi's remarks reprehensible. The reaction to her statements was significant. Whoopi faced a lot of criticism, and the backlash led to her being suspended from The View for 2 weeks. ABC News president Kim Godwin even commented, saying, "While Whoopi has apologized, I've asked her to take some time to reflect and learn about the impact of her comments." This wasn't the only controversy involving Whoopi. In one particularly awkward moment, she suddenly asked co-host Alyssa Farah Griffin if she was pregnant. Alyssa, who had previously been the White House Director of Strategic Communications, was clearly surprised and responded, "No, oh my God." This led to chaos on the set, with the audience reacting loudly, and her fellow co-hosts questioning Whoopi's judgment by asking, "Why would you say that? This is so wrong. Whoopi is a mess." An outraged viewer posted on X, "Even if she were pregnant, she would have forced her to announce with that question. She could ask during a break or before the start of the show. Such disgusting behavior." Then there's the issue of blackface. In 1993, while Whoopi was dating actor Ted Danson, he appeared in blackface at her Friars Club roast, which offended many attendees and led to some walking out.
Condemning.
While Ted Danson and Whoopi Goldberg were dating, he was part of a roast for Whoopi and thought it was a good idea to dress up in blackface.
Even though this happened long before her time on The View, her responses to discussions about blackface have often been criticized as not being strong enough. Don't be surprised if you hit a man, he hits you back. A stance that sparked criticism from both viewers and co-hosts. She said, "So don't be surprised if you hit a man and he hits you back, who's 4'3", and you decided to hit a guy who's 6 foot tall, and you're the last thing he wants to deal with that day, and he hits you back. You cannot be surprised. Can't believe it until you see it. Here's the clip."
So don't be surprised if you hit a man and he hits you back, who's 4'3", and you decide to hit a guy who's 6 foot tall, and you're the last thing he wants to deal with that day, and he hits you back. You cannot be surprised.
And her defense of...
In 2015, her defense of Bill Cosby during the height of the SA accusations added more controversy. She argued that Cosby should be presumed innocent until proven guilty, which led to a big argument with then co-host Rosie O'Donnell and sparked a wider debate about Cosby's guilt.
I hope that there is justice for this lady. I hope somebody gets to the bottom of this. But I'm going to reserve my judgment because I have a lot of questions. As I said, it's crazy.
Recently, in a March 2023 episode, Whoopi used an ethnic slur while talking about Donald Trump and Stormy Daniels. She used a derogatory term when discussing election cheating. After realizing her mistake, she apologized about an hour later. In a video posted on Twitter, she explained that she used a term from her past without thinking about how it might be hurtful. She admitted she should have been more careful with her words and apologized for not being more thoughtful. You know, when you're a certain age, you use the words that you know from when you were a kid, or you remember saying, and that's what I did today, and I shouldn't have, Goldberg said in a video. She continued, "I should have thought about it a little longer before I said it, and I didn't. I should have said cheated, and I used another word, and I'm really, really sorry." All these incidents have made people question Whoopi's judgment and character, turning her into one of the more polarizing figures in talk show history. Even with her long career, these controversies have damaged her reputation, showing that even well-established hosts can face serious public backlash. James Corden has also faced a lot of backlash over his behavior on and off set. In 2019, during the Writers Guild of America strike, he made headlines for attending a WGA meeting without any of his own writers. At the meeting, Corden pushed for a program that would let his show pay writers less than the minimum set by the Guild. He claimed he wanted to create better opportunities for young writers, but many people weren't buying it. Critics pointed out, despite having one of the most successful talk shows, he was still trying to exploit young writing interns eager for a chance. Corden's reputation took another blow in 2022 when Keith McNally, who owns the popular New York City restaurant Balthazar, posted on Instagram about his employees' experiences with Corden. He wrote, "James Corden is a hugely gifted comedian, but a tiny cretin of a man and the harshest customer to my Balthazar servers since the restaurant opened 25 years ago. I don't often 86 a customer, but today I 86'd Corden. It did not make me laugh."
Last week there were stories about me being banned from a restaurant, and at the time I considered, like tweeting about it or Instagramming about it. Like whenever these sorts of moments come my way, I like to adopt, quite a British attitude of sort of.
Here are two examples of the funny man's treatment of my staff. Managers Report 1. In June, James Corden was seated at table 61. After finishing his main course, he showed a hair in his food to Balthazar manager G, who apologized right away. Corden was very rude to G, demanding, "Get us another round of drinks immediately and cover our drinks so far. Otherwise, I'll write a terrible review on Yelp." Managers Report 2. On October 9th, James Corden and his wife came to Balthazar for brunch and asked for him. He was still rude to the server. MK, though shaken, continued to finish her shift professionally. The restaurant owner was so shocked by Corden's behavior that he publicly banned him from the restaurant. The incident quickly went viral, with many people sharing their own negative experiences with Corden. The backlash was immediate, and although Corden eventually apologized, the damage to his reputation had already been done.
Wrong to the table the third time. In the heat of the moment, I made a sarcastic, rude comment, right, about cooking it myself. And it is a comment I deeply regret. Like, I understand the difficulties of being a server. I worked shifts at restaurants for years. I have such respect, and I value anyone that does such a job. And the team at that restaurant are so great. That's why I love it there.
In June 2009, Conan took over The Tonight Show from Jay Leno, a move NBC had planned for years. The idea was to bring a fresh new vibe to the show with Conan's unique humor and his loyal fans. But just months later, NBC decided to shake things up. They wanted to move Conan's show to a later time slot from 11:30 p.m. to 12:00